What's up everybody, Alex here. I've been wanting to do another video on the Retroid Pocket Mini because I'm actually really enjoying this handheld. There's a few different reasons why. I've done a review on the device. One of them is I just really like holding it, but I think the screen is beautiful. And in my review, I mentioned that a few systems wouldn't be a good fit for the screen because the games are developed for like a 16:9 ratio with a wider screen. However, with Nintendo Switch, it's actually not that bad to actually stretch the screen and look at games at a 4:3 ratio. And I didn't actually realize you could do this until the other day. You can go in the settings and change the screen ratio. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to show off a game called Evil Tonight because for some reason when you start this game up, it has like a minute long wait to boot. I don't know what's up with that, but I figured for the interest of time, I'll just jump into this because what I wanted to do in this video as well is I wanted to show off a few different cool like survival horror games that are on Nintendo Switch and are pretty good fit for this device with the stretch screen. Like I don't really think about the stretch too much. So starting off with Evil Tonight, this is like a Resident Evil style game, but it's like 2D. So the sprite work is actually really nice and you have all the hallmarks of a Resident Evil title. You have puzzles, you have monsters, you've got guns and ammo, you've got to conserve your ammo, and it's just a really good time. So I got this on Steam and I played all of it and I'm a big fan of it, so I've been recommending this game to people now and then, but because it's on the Switch, I figured this would be a good test to try this game out on here. And yeah, like I said, the stretching of the screen is really not a big deal. I don't think too much of it. I forget that in fact it was originally a 16:9 game, and the story's a little I don't want to say cheesy, but it's fun in that way. So you know, it's kind of anime, it's got some like ghost story vibe to it, but the actual gameplay is solid. Like going to do the puzzles and shooting things is great, so I fully recommend playing this game. It's a really good time. In fact, one of my favorite sort of the things I like to indulge is like these survival horror games that take like one day to finish. If like you just binge it, you know, like you get really addicted to it. Love that kind of thing, so absolutely recommend this. And I got a couple more for the Switch that I think are really good on this device that I mean, we're all going to be waiting a while for the Retroid Pocket 5, so might as well get some use out of this. This is actually a really good test for Retroid Pocket 5 because it's the exact same hardware, but the Retroid Pocket 5 will have a wider screen, slightly bigger battery, and a little bit more RAM. So, in fact, there are probably some games on the Retroid Pocket 5 with Nintendo Switch that will run a little better. And I'm going to go into like the settings and things because what I want to recommend actually is Retro Tech Dad. He recently just did a video on Nintendo Switch on the RP5. And he was thinking the exact same thing I was thinking. Like, actually, games look pretty decent at a 4:5 ratio. 4:3, sorry. And he did a really great video. So, honestly, I can't do better than that. I fully recommend it. So, I'm just going to come out of here and I'm going to go to my settings. I'm just going to show you the settings I have by default. So, we're using UZUY. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link Retro Tech Dad's video. Fully recommend watching the whole thing. Very good video. And he also links a great build of UZUY that works on Android 10 for this device because it's Android 10. That's another thing as well. The Retroid Pocket 5 will be Android 13, so it'll be able to use different builds, like more up-to-date builds, and they'll run Switch games even better. So we're using docked mode on because if we can, we want to get like the full 1080p if it's possible, but this is one of the first settings to turn down if maybe there's a problem with the game, if it's not running too great. Turn it back down to handheld mode, that'll be 720. Graphics, normal, we have resolution at 1x, and this is the important option here for this device. We want to force a 4:3 ratio so that it fits the entire screen. If you turn that back down to what it originally was by default, you are missing about this much of the screen. And on the black device, it doesn't actually look that bad because as you're playing, because it's OLED, the blacks are really black, so it just sort of blends in. But utilizing the full screen is nice, and there are several games in particular I think it works extremely well. There's other games you can tell where the stretch is happening, but You can like ignore that if you want. If you want to be purist, totally disregard this, not a problem. But yeah, some games stretched. You also got the problem that because of this screen size, there are going to be some games with text that's actually quite small because they were developed to be read on a bigger screen and they don't have text options. So that's going to be up to you. If you find the text too small, then they won't be games you want to play. And we're leaving everything else by default, this shader cache. Something I personally do is with audio, I change the output engine to Cube B because in my experience with some of these handhelds, putting it to Cube B actually helped with performance. So it just made the audio less of a problem and the game ran a little better. So if the device is weaker, I put that on by default and then I will change it back to auto if necessary, but I just leave it on Cube B. That's up to you though. You don't have to do that. Something I do. You can leave it on auto if you like. Debug, we're using Vulkan, NCE for the CPU backend. That is pretty much it. The other important thing is with GPU Driver Manager, we're using a specific turnip driver. So this will be on Retro Tech Dad's video as well in his description. And Aish Tech Talks helped him find that. So thanks to him as well for picking out the specific one. It seems to help certain games run even better. What I was previously testing was a different Android 10 build, which had like 5 or 6 GPU drivers. So this makes things a lot simpler. So you only have to focus on that. So I'm going to go basically game by game and talk about them and see how I feel about them and go through their settings. A short hike. I don't think I've done anything with this. No add-ons. GPU driver. So by default, we're just going to leave it on this Mesa Turnip driver. And if a game was not working for some reason or a bit weird, we'd just turn it back to system GPU driver. So yeah, this game at a 4:3 ratio actually looks pretty nice. It's one of those games that has really rich colors as well. Sorry, there's like a little mark on the screen that's, it just don't want to go. There we go, I got it. And yeah, super rich colors, really nice art style. So it like really fits nicely on this device. And again, so one of the reasons I wanted to do this video is, just by curiosity, I felt like testing Nintendo Switch games. I mean, we're on Android 10, so we're already under a limitation of the builds we can use and what they can do. I think I just have to mash through the text here. And so I already was limiting my expectations. I said in my review that I didn't really cover Nintendo Switch much because I wasn't expecting this device to be any kind of like cool Nintendo Switch thing. I was saying, for example, I tried to get into Super Mario Odyssey. So another aspect of this video is that we are not going to be looking at anything like too serious. I will actually show a couple of Nintendo games. We're going to risk that with this video and see what happens. I mean, I've seen a couple of YouTubers do the same thing and they don't seem to have any problems. I mean, unfortunately, what happened to Retro Game Core with Russ was crap. It was crap, and it's really not fair that he had to go through it. And I understand the situation because I went through a similar thing with my music channel because my thing was remixing Dark Souls music, and earlier this year, Bandai Namco specifically targeted my channel. They even targeted one of my original songs, which they weren't supposed to do. So had they gone through with that, I could have sued them, like, legitimately. And thankfully, they backed off that track. But yeah, I was able to get into a position where I was able to save my channel and keep my content. But unfortunately, the Nintendo situation, Nintendo is becoming something of a tyrant. They're getting a very firm grip on this whole thing, and just not a lot we can do. They're making the rules, and although it's a high ground situation, even if they're potentially wrong in certain situations, they have the high ground. So we'll wait and see how this goes. But yeah, a short height looks very nice, playing really smooth there. Animal Well, so this was one when the build I was testing of Yuzu, it wouldn't work. But this particular build of UZUI, hang on a second. I meant to hold the button there. Add-ons, we're using an update 1.03, very short update, very small game as well, but cool thing is it boots up. And specifically, like, the games that are like pixel games, with the stretch, they seem to just work really nicely. I don't really know why that is. It's like our brains just sort of go, actually, that looks fine. I mean, this little dude here, he's just a little blob. And you've probably, if you played this game before, you're expecting to see a little blob. But like looking at him, you know, he still kind of looks like the size you'd expect him to be. And for the purpose of the video, to record it decently, I'll just quickly show that I am at half brightness, and something I forgot to mention in my review video, because I always just I don't really think about it. I put my device in high performance mode. I do this with every device. I don't see the need to go lower than that. And my fan I put in smart mode, so whenever it heats up, it like pumps out. You know, the fan starts doing what it's doing. There's one game in particular I'll show later where the fan actually kicks up, and I didn't actually find it that noticeable, but you know, it could bug some people. But Animal Well is looking nice, and like what I just wanted to say there was, if I turn the brightness all the way up, like I said, these cameras, they don't capture the quality of the OLED like amazingly, and I didn't want to do what I did in the last half of my review video, where I like messed around with like some of the color balancing and things to really try and like capture like the way that OLED really works. But if I crank the brightness all the way up, I'm just looking to the side now, and it's like this grass here is like, it looks kind of like muted and like regular grass in this video, but to my eye it looks like really vibrant, like neon grass or something. It's so cool. I really like the screen on this device, and again, the size of the screen doesn't actually bother me that much. Anyway, Animal Well working nice. So now we're going to go to another horror game I recommend. This actually just came to Nintendo Switch recently. We're using 1.01 of update, you know, just to let you know, because in case you know, try to start the game and you don't have that update and it doesn't work, then I can say, well, I have this update on. So, you know, try to keep your games up to date if possible. It's potentially a reason why a game will work, which will be the next game, Dark Souls, for example. Crow Country, so just come out on Switch. This is a game I fully recommend buying, because I got this on Steam. Do I have a save point? I do. And I remember this particular Sunday, it was like a month after the game came out. I was just looking for something to play on a Sunday, and I bought it on Steam. I actually played it on my Geek One S, so I was laying in bed playing it, and again, it's a game you can just seriously binge. It's very Resident Evil-like. It has a kind of cute style to it, almost like, you know, like little dolls or something. Almost Five Nights at Freddy-ish at times. So yeah, and I just binged this whole game. Super good. On Steam right now, it has a overwhelmingly positive review score, so people are really into it. Sorry, it's quite dark. I'll go to a brighter location, and I need to run with the trigger actually, because then you can... Okay, I thought the game just crashed. And yeah, so it's 3D. You can run around, use the camera. You can aim your gun, and you have this cool laser sight. And it's just very Resident Evil-like. It's more Resident Evil than like any other kind of horror game. There's little puzzles to do. I guess the aiming... It's strange to say it's Resident Evil 4 inspired, but you know, it's not over the shoulder. And yeah, and the game's like not very expensive either. It's very cool to see it on the Switch, because when I saw it on Steam, I actually went to see if it was on the Switch so I could play it on the Switch. And they hadn't released it on the Switch. It's only on Steam. So very cool that you can buy it on the Switch now. I absolutely recommend it. And if you're, you know, if you're the kind of person that just wants to try something out, I guarantee if you like this kind of game, after a couple of hours, you'll tell yourself, I think I should buy this game. You know, small indie team that making this, they deserve the money. So really awesome game. Like I said, I got it on Steam, and I can't wait to see what they do next, because I was very surprised about the quality of this game, and it's fun throughout. It also has some like dark vibes towards the end. Interesting story as well. You know, like it starts off quite simple, but it's got one of those stories that people start like delving into, like asking some questions. Here we have Dark Souls. This is one I was just curious, like, will it or won't it work? 1.03 update. We're using the light mod. I'll link that in the video description, because it sometimes can be weird to find. It's a situation where you you make a folder. So the folder is called mod. You can call it whatever you want, lightfix mod, whatever you want. Inside that folder is an exefs folder, and inside that folder is the patch. So as long as that is in your game folder, so for example, you go to info here, you can see the ID number of the game. So you will go to the user directory, then you'll go to you go to load, and then you'll find the folder, and inside that folder is where you like put these mods. I would say just do it. You can install them from here, mods, and if the folder is like say in your download directory, if you've set it up right, you can install it that way. So yes, Dark Souls, and I don't believe I did anything different with this game. I put my Odin 2 save file on here because I basically completed the game on my Odin 2. So this is a good test. I'll be able to show you some locations and things rather than just the intro, so you can tell that it is actually working. Seems to be 30 FPS solid, so that surprised me. I was very surprised. Oh yeah, it's this button you got to press to... Usually it's the A button on Nintendo Switch, but with FromSoft they said nah, we want our Xbox style. Couldn't be bothered to change it back around, which is good actually, because I'd rather run and roll be here than I'm here. So I'm in Firelink Shrine with my build, and you can tell that I have I'm like level 88. And yeah, we've got the screen stretch on, and this is a game where it's like quite blatant it's actually stretched. So you know, you'd either have to adjust to this or just turn it back to 16:9, but I think it looks kind of small. So the whole point of this video is looking at games at a 4:3 ratio and going from there. So running around, I tell you what, let's go to we'll go to the Artorias DLC, I think, if I can remember the name. Ulasil Township, I think, is the one. And yeah, I played around with this for a little bit and I didn't notice any frame drops, so that's super cool. And the other really cool thing, again, can't really demonstrate it very well in the video, but this is Dark Souls on an OLED screen on a handheld, which is super cool. So seeing it like this, yeah, it's gonna run great on the Retroid Pocket 5, so super psyched about that. I reckon Dark Souls would be a great game to play on the Retroid Pocket 5, you know, pretty small device. Oh, the sounds, dude. There's this Twitch streamer I watch who has a redeem, which is just that sound of getting hit in Dark Souls. So when like there's like a hot girl in the game, people start redeeming that, like, oh. And yeah, I know I'm using a ZY build. When I was playing on the Odin 2, I was like, you know what, I just fancy doing a two-handed ZY build. I thought it'd be fun. I know it's like a pretty strong build, but you two-hand it and you one-shot a lot of stuff. Is there anything cool we can look at? I think, actually, let's go back. A really good test of this would be to go to Blighttown, because, you know, if you know Dark Souls, you know Blighttown is, ugh. I can't remember if that was actually a problem on the Switch or not. And yeah, playing Dark Souls, you know, if you're like me, you just get used to the fact that you start claw gripping this. Best way to play. Manage it. Oh, I pressed the wrong damn button. Ooh, there is... What is it called? Wait, you can't warp to Blighttown, can you? Oh, that sucks. What else would be crazy? Should we just have a look at Anor Londo? Wait, is Anor Londo the castle? Yeah, we'll just do it. Because I was there and it looks really pretty. Looks especially pretty on the OLED. So, and you know, there's a lot of like castle there and things. So it's the kind of place where you think, maybe it would go funny. Honestly, I'm just playing this now. I'm thinking, damn, it's so cool. We can play Dark Souls on this. Just emulated on a Switch. Look at this thing. I swear to God, when you turn the brightness all the way up on that OLED, super cool. Super cool. Also, if it at all seems like I'm holding this awkward. It's just the fact that I'm just trying to like hold it in front of the camera nice. Usually I'm like holding it like this, like laying in bed and stuff, and it's so comfortable. I'm surprised how comfortable this device is. I know I'm shilling this thing so hard, but like I think we all had some reservations and some ideas that maybe these Retroid Pocket devices, these new ones, were like you know, like not, there's no point buying them, you know, like if you have Retroid Pocket 4, and honestly, look, I'll pick this any day over that. Honestly, for me, that's just what I would do. So we looked at Evil tonight. Fez was shown off like pretty well on Retro Tech Dad's video, so I'm going to skip that one because you know I like to ramble, so you know these videos are going to go on. I have Final Fantasy VII here, and the reason I want to show Final Fantasy VII is because I have a mod, and I think I've shown this before in a video, but this is the New Threat mod. So you know you're able to emulate the Final Fantasy VII on Switch with New Threat, so you can play like a whole different mod of the game, which is great, and an OLED, which is super cool. So it'll be great on the Retroid Pocket 5. The weird thing about this, and this reminds me, I actually tried to record this video 2 days ago and I chose the wrong mic, which I never do, so I had to throw that video away. But it was good because Retro Tech Dad released his video. It's making this a bit better video, so I'm thankful to him. Let's just load up. And what I was trying to say is on the Nintendo Switch, so look at a 16:9 screen. Final Fantasy VII is 4:3, and then you have black bars on the side, so you have like, if I press the left stick, you'll see that it's now 3 times speed, and there's a sign there to show that. But yeah, so Final Fantasy VII is 4:3 with black bars on the side. But on this device, it's 4:3, black bars on the side, stretched to 4:3. So this is like super 4:3, right? It's kind of weird. With this game, I would say you don't notice it too much until you're either in battle or you talk to someone. Honestly, I mean, the text is very readable, and that's one of the great things about the older games, is because when they do text, it's quite large because they were lower resolution games. We'll see later with a couple other games that because they were like made for the Switch or newer consoles, the higher resolutions they opt to do smaller text without giving you the option to change the font size, which is usually on more like modern games, bigger consoles, bigger TVs. Ooh. So yeah. You know, I'll show you a demonstration of that later, and you can decide if that's very readable or not. Because I mean, when I do these videos, like, look, the Retroid Pocket is massive on the YouTube screen, but like, I take my, sorry, I hit my camera. I take my 8-bit Duo controller, 8-bit Duo SNES controller, and they're basically nearly the same size. As for width, similar. You know, it's mostly this ergonomic grip that's like taking up some of the room. Otherwise, it could be a much slimmer device. But I am thankful for that grip. I'm thankful for the material as well. Like, I don't know. Like, I just really don't like the material on this. You see the graininess of it, and I don't know, dude. It just put me off. Usually, that stuff does not put me off, but it put me off. I think that's the first time I just took out the. Like, they don't sell this anymore. They sell, I think, I think it's like a American style Famicom, whereas this is a PAL version. I love this controller, I really do. Except there's like a dent in the thumb here. I accidentally like dug my thumbnail in once. I think I was playing Elden Ring. Yeah. So Final Fantasy VII New Threat mod. It's one of those things where you can find it, you add it as a mod, it's all like packaged in a folder, it's got everything you need. I will try and find that and link it in the description because it's in a previous video of mine, so I'll have a look and see if I can find it. But yeah, I mean, obviously you can play Final Fantasy 1 on, you know, like DuckStation or RetroArch and play it that way, but and use the full 4:3 screen. But this is how you'd play the New Threat mod. So I just wanted to demonstrate that. next we're going to have a look at yeah, so Hyperlight Drifter is something. Do I have an add-on here? I do. 1.30. I remember playing this when it came out on Steam, and there was a lot of hype about this. You know, it was around that time where indie games were like still like this magical industry where like, and it was kind of cool actually. The people like between like Super Meat Boy up to about this game or something, there were a lot of good indie games, and it's one of those things where it's like if you think back to the 90s and you think about all the great SNES platformers and SNES RPGs, the reason why they like created an industry is like they were genuinely amazing games, and that was the reason. And indie is sort of similar. You get like a lot of like whatever indie games now, especially like with apps, but the guys who like made indie games like 10 years ago or so, these guys really like carried the indie game industry like forward for everybody else. Did such good jobs on their games. I think this game was actually kickstarted, I think. So when you start this game, you can choose to go in 4 directions, maybe 3. I can't remember if south is locked off. And I chose to go east because it's a watery world, and it looks super nice on the OLED. Just really bright, thick colors, super cool. And if you haven't played Hyperlight Drifter, it's one of those, there is like no text in the game. Everybody talks with like pictures. I think there's even a language to decipher in game, and the combat's like, you know, decent. I actually remember a friend of mine saying like they're like, oh, these devs are incompetent because there's a 3-hit combo, and when you do the 3-hit combo, you are vulnerable for a moment. But at the end of the 3-hit combo, the 3rd hit does nothing in particular. So there's no reason why you shouldn't just do // instead. And so my friend was like, oh, if they don't even understand how to do a 3-hit combo and like the repercussion of it, like, you know, there should be a reason why you do the 3rd hit. If you were going to like have a penalty, like, you know, because you can't move after the 3rd hit. Anyway, I always thought that was funny. That's always going to stick in my head. And yeah, another 2D game stretched to a 4:3 ratio, and you don't really think much about it. It is working very, very well. This is an awesome game as well. You know, if you ever see it on sale, anything, definitely grab it. They are making a sequel that is like, it's a sequel to this game, but it's like a roguelite, I think. I don't know too much about it. Looks very cool. It's 3D, so they're kind of doing the Risk of Rain approach, where like second game they've gone 3D. Risk of Rain 2, hugely popular, very good game. So I don't know if they're in early access or not. We'll have to see about that. So Hyperlight Drifter running super good. As I said, for the sake of videos, like for the sake of time. So Katana Zero works very well. Another great pixel game. I want to have a look at Metroid Dread. I'm trying to think if I did anything in particular here. Because this game has crashed on me a couple of times. I think it's just one of those situations where you just start the game up again and again, you know, and you know, at one time it's going to work. Unfortunately, that's just the situation. So let's start this up. And again, I am using a save from my Odin 2 because I did eventually play this all again on my Odin 2. See, it's crashed for some reason. I played all of Metroid Dread again on my Odin 2, and it ran 60 FPS flawlessly throughout, and I didn't have a problem with it. It was really fun playing it again. I got it day one on the Switch, and I'm a big Metroid fan, so I was really, really excited about it, and it's a great game. Loved playing it on the Odin 2 again, because, you know, you could play it like a higher resolution and on a device that I like more. So using my save, I got to the end of the game, but I traveled to a different location. So if you don't want to see spoilers, you know, don't watch. But I'm not going to go to any bosses or anything. I'm just going to like travel around and show you that it's running fairly smoothly. So you could play Metroid Dread. See, there's the crash happen. Like if I start it again, and I'm going to have to keep doing this for the sake of the video, it will work one time. I was actually playing this because I was at the end game save before the final boss. I traveled to a different location and was able to just play, and I wasn't experiencing any issues. So I'm going to get there. So on Retro Tech Dance video, he didn't show any Nintendo games. I fully appreciate people with bigger subscriber counts and reaching certain audiences. It's gonna gather the attention of Nintendo, and it's just not worth risking them going through your YouTube channel, potentially throwing copyright strikes. Because if you get 3 and you can't challenge them, your channel's gone. And for me, that was a really crippling situation because Bandai Namco did that to me. They did 2 strikes. I thankfully didn't get the 3rd strike. We were able to prevent them from doing that. If that happens, I would have lost my music channel and this channel. All channels. Every channel associated together. You'd lose every channel. So yeah, see, I told you, we get in game. And it says in the top left we're getting about 45 frames per second. I would expect this to run 60 on the Retroid Pocket 5, simply because we'd have a better build, Android 13, and use different drivers as well. So I'm not actually sure where I'm going. I'll just run right. Oh no, we're in the Emmy location. The Emmy location sucks to capture on the camera because it's very blue, and blues don't like work very well. I think I can jump up here. But you know, I've got all the powers, so you know, I'm not afraid. I've already defeated all the Emmys, so not too fussed about that. Can you just sonic screw these? Yeah, you become so powerful in this game. And one of the things I super appreciate about Metroid Dread, again, I'm not going to spoil it, is they do justice to this character. If you're a long-time fan of Metroid and you played Metroid Other M, is it Other M on the Nintendo Wii? There is a mod for Other M, like Maximum Mod or something, which makes it a more tolerable, fun game. And they do stuff to try and save the story, because the story in Other M's odd. They make Samus into a little bit of a, you know, weak kind of like, almost like teenageish character. Whereas in this game, they make Samus like, she's just so cool. Like, I love it when like developers make a character like this, especially for a woman, because they're just great. Really great character. I was so enamored with Samus by the end of this game. I was like, I just want more of Samus, and I hope developers are like that in the future. You know, I actually just started rewatching Arcane Season 1 because like I've been wanting to just watch something cool as I get on my treadmill and exercise, and I was watching episode 1, and I was like, you know what, with Vi and Jinx, they do a really good job with these characters. They make them seem strong with like relatable stories and really good writing. So big fan of that stuff. Anyway, I've run around Metroid Dread for quite a while, and you can see that it works. You just have to keep opening it again and again if it starts to crash. I was unfortunate with this video that I had to do that several times. Pocky and Rocky looks really nice. Record of that always has such a long name. Record of Lodos War. Trouble in Deedlit, not Trouble in Deedlit. Deedlit in Wonderland is like a Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Really super cool game. I really want to open that up, but again, like Evil Tonight, it's one of those games that takes about a minute to open up. So I really don't know why it's doing that. I'm just thinking, I've got a lot of games and the video's like over 30 minutes. I want to have a look at Signalis because this is another recommendation I have for a horror game. This is the 3rd horror game I want to recommend that is on Switch. This one I also really loved. It took me a long time to get to it. Actually, what I want to do is I want to have a look at the settings before I go in. So we have update 1.3. I don't think there was anything else. We'll have it on docked mode because this is another game where I was experiencing crashes. You may have to like open it up several times, or there was like one cutscene in this game in particular where it crashed a couple of times, but I powered through and I was able to get further. So just using this game more as a demonstration, probably be a lot smoother on the Retroid Pocket 5 with Android 2013. Yeah, Mesa Terminate driver. So let's boot that up. When I got around to this, I remember finishing it, and it's one of those games that sticks in your head. I like to try and say that this game is kind of like Silent Hill in space. So if Dead Space is the space version of Resident Evil 4, Signalis is kind of like the space version of Silent Hill. But that doesn't like do it tremendously, just give it like proper justice, you know, like it has a pretty cool story behind it. It's the kind of game you want to complete twice, I'd say, to really fully appreciate the story. It has like an odd anime style, like the in-game models look really cool. There's some cutscenes where they have like drawn anime, and it looks cool. I think it looks all right. And I love this game. I fully recommend buying this. If you know, so you have like puzzles, you have action, and it's all done from a top-down perspective. Yeah, I want to load file. So this is the example of the game where the text is really small, and you can't help that because it's just a small device. So if you're playing this game and you find the text is too small, then yeah, I'd say I don't recommend it. But it is a super cool game. I don't think I have any weapons, not yet. This is early on, so there was a bit at the start where you're on a ship, then a cutscene, and then you get to this new location. If you can get to here, I would say this game is playable. Another really cool thing is I played this on PC. Is it going to crash? Look at that. 0.0. It's going to crash. Damn it. I thought I had this figured out. I thought, right, this is going to work. Oh, damn, it's going to crash, isn't it? Nothing. I really wanted to recommend this. I do apologize. We'll try it once more, just to see if we can again power through. Another thing I really liked about this on PC, you know what? I think I'll just start it all up again so it's all fresh. Another thing that was cool about the PC version, you know, so I love mods. There is a mod, because this entire game is actually 3D, it's just from a top-down perspective. You can get a mod that turns this into like a Resident Evil Dead Space kind of game with an over-the-shoulder camera. And you can't aim the gun properly, but, you know, it's just like shooting whatever's in front of you. But because it's 3D, it totally changes the vibe of the game. And it's quite a scary game. It's just that from a top-down perspective, games are usually less scary because, you know, it's not from an angle you are used to. You know, you can see everything, and so this is the kind of game where I'd love to like see it in different ways. So again, over the shoulder, I didn't finish it. I played like half of it. I was like, this is so cool. I mean, obviously there were parts of the game where it wasn't designed to be that way, so it wasn't like perfect playing that way. But this is a game where I think like fixed camera angles would be really cool as well, like the old Resident Evil Silent Hill games. I played Silent Hill 2 recently, the remake. I loved that. So good. Hey, look, it didn't crash. See? What? Why didn't it crash? So look at that text, really small, and I don't want to change the focus on my camera because I have it just right for this. But like I said, you know, if you can appreciate the device is this size and you want to hold that close to you and the text is kind of small, then yeah, I wouldn't recommend playing this game on this device. That's what I mean. Otherwise, I fully recommend you getting this game if you like horror games. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here. But yeah, there's a whole like creepy android story to this. Yeah, and got in my head a bit, thought about it for a while. Very good, very fun. I think it's great. And since I don't really know what I'm doing, let's go back up in that room again and see if it crashes. It's quite dark as well, so you know I'm realizing it's not great for this video, but I didn't check on Steam. I wonder if this has a overwhelmingly positive review. I know, I looked at that. What else am I supposed to look at in here? So yeah, you know, you collect items, you can even combine items, and you know, so very like classic. I'd say more like Silent Hill than Resident Evil, but it's got this whole space vibe to it. It's creepy. Definitely recommend that. I think I've given that enough time, so you can see that I powered through it. You're able to play it. We looked at Sonic Mania before. I'm gonna have a quick look at Turtles, and then maybe Timespinner, and then we'll finish off with Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, which I know is a risky one, but we're gonna do it because I want to show it off. So Turtles, sorry, we're getting like really into this video now. Right, so I just meant to show that with add-on. Oh, it has an add-on, but I combined the NSPs together as one file. So this does have the latest add-on, and that will make sure the game runs properly. But I combined the NSPs to save space. That if I could, like, certain games and certain updates, if the update is really small, I just can't be asked to attach them. So when I'm installing an update, like all my games are on the SD card, but when I install an update, it's actually on the internal drive, which is like space I don't really want to use. But if the update of the game is really small, then it's not a problem to me. But if it's bigger, I'll combine the NSPs if I can. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I should preface this with that you can get this game for Android, so you don't need to play it on a Switch emulator. But the fact is that you need a Netflix account in order to download this game and play it on Android. So, you know, that's just what you need to do. But it's nice to be able to show that it works on Nintendo Switch. And this is a... actually, I don't know if the Android version will stretch to a 4:3 screen. I mean, with pixel games, they're usually designed for the ratio they're like meant for. So this Turtles game would have been designed for 16:9 screens. Pretty sure, anyway. Shredder. And yeah, this one's working really good. Like I said before, we're at 4:3 ratio, and I'm not really thinking about that things are stretched. It looks pretty cool. And if I look around the side, oh my god, the colors are rich. Like this floor is actually meant to be purple. These characters are meant to be purple. The Foot Clan, but it's just a bit muted in this video. It looks super gorgeous on the OLED. I feel like the Retroid Pocket Mini has been such a good like demo for the Retroid Pocket 5, if that makes sense. Like if you see the Mini and you know you enjoy things about it, it seems highly likely that you're going to enjoy the Retroid Pocket 5 even more. And it's only like $20 more. Can you believe that? That is strange, isn't it? I am wondering if the price for the Mini was actually a good fit, but the fact that they already had the Retroid Pocket 2, you know, in their catalog, I don't know. $199 for the Mini. Do you think that's a good price? I would say if you could get one secondhand a bit cheaper, then absolutely, definitely. $199 though. I mean, what I did, so I got it early bird. I got this and the Retroid Pocket 5 as one deal because they offered that during the pre-order. So, you know, I saved some money there. And my initial thought was that I would probably review the Mini and wonder if I'd use it or not, and then use the 5. That's probably still going to be the case, but I'm still super taken back by how much I like the Mini. I never knew how much I needed a 4:3 screen in my life. I never knew how much I would like just enjoy the fact that it is what it is. In the case of, say, like GameCube and PlayStation 2 games, we're already used to the fact that we have like widescreen hacks or widescreen patches, and that makes those games fill the screen and look like games from today, which is so cool. But seeing them the natural 4:3 the way they used to be, it's awesome. And in combination with playing all our old retro games 4:3 the way they were, with really rich colors, like I'm really looking forward to like diving into some old Super Nintendo games and stuff. Like, that's my plan for like the near future. Why am I trying to quit this game there? All right. Before I look at Echoes of Wisdom, I want to have a quick look at Timespinner. This is super cool Metroidvania game. Absolutely recommend this one. It's heavily inspired by Symphony of the Night, and it has elements of Castlevania Order of Ecclesia. And the way they designed this game, so in the options, look, I can toggle the frame border on and off. That's weird. I thought that border was thinner. Never mind. We'll just start the game. So this is stretched to a 4:3 ratio. But again, it's one of those games where you don't really think too much about it. It actually looks quite nice. Actually, you know what? It's not even filling to the top. Hang on a second. I think what's confusing me is because I tested this game on the other Android build, not this one. So if I go to graphics and I go to aspect ratio, is there a stretch? We'll try stretch to window. Really? I turn those borders on. Hang on. Okay, I'm really curious about this. I have to do this. So let me go to my settings and go to apps. So we're using UZUI is the one we were using. Black Hawk Reborn, weird name. If I open up the Yuzu I was using, so this is the build I was using before, and I run Timespinner. And I'm just going to show quickly that in this build, I was running things at stretch to window. Yeah, and you can see that this build, the screen stretches, let's skip this. It stretches all the way to the top, yeah, and look at this, the options. If I toggle border, look how thin that border is in comparison. Why is this build stretching this game? Alright, we'll move that to that window, and then let's get rid of this. We got two things of Switch running. Alright, and then let's take this border off. Yeah, you can see that. It's this totally not using the same space. That is odd. And I go here, and you can see it's stretched even better. Weird. I'm actually like cliche scratching my head right now. So I guess I recommend that if you want to play Timespinner, then use not UZUI, but a Android 10 build of Yuzu. I don't know why that is. Okay, let's get past that because I'm going to be thinking about that too much. Right, last game we're going to look at. Hang on. So we're not using that build. I've confused myself now. I'll just start it again. Also, love Pegasus. As I said, if I get enough time and know how I want to put it together, it would be cool to do a tutorial video of Pegasus because it's really cool that you can just use all these different themes. I didn't even mean to open that theme up. I can hear someone say, "Stop stalling, go play Zelda." Right, we're going to go play Zelda. I like this theme a lot for this device, so we'll just use this one. So going into emulator, I know that says Sudachi, I just couldn't be bothered to change the picture. You know, I'm not intending to like play much Switch on this in the end. So with Zelda, so we have the 1.0 0.1 update. We have the no blur mod. If we go to settings, then we are not in docked mode. Go to graphics. I set it to high. This might not be an issue, but like I've set it to high anyway. Resolution, we're using 0.75 as I found that was more stable to get like a constant 30 frames. The other thing we have done is we've turned on asynchronous shaders because that stopped the light flickering in the world. And I think that is it. So, and I have a save file from when I was playing this on my Geek One S. Have Zelda, but it was just a better experience on Ryujinx on the Geek One S. It really was. I had so much more fun with it. And you can see that this isn't even like the latest save I have. I finished it on the Geek One S. But I was testing it on the Odin as well because some people were saying it's playable. I wouldn't say it was massively playable on the Odin 2. I think the case there is that we're not going to get any more builds of any kind, and I don't know if future drivers are going to make it even more playable. But yeah, you can see that we're getting 30 frames. The 0.75 resolution is making this a bit more pixely. Oddly has a bit of a charm to it because of that, because it's a bit more pixely. And there are graphical bugs, so you can see in the fountain that something's screwed up. And it's the same case with the rifts as well. Yeah, you can see the water here is screwed up. Interestingly, when you use the water block, that isn't screwed up. You know what we'll do? I want to go to an area with brighter colors. Let's go to the Goron area. Pretty much a staple of all Zelda games now. Got to have a Goron area. Got to have a Zora area. What I really liked in this game actually was that they had a Deku area. I thought that was super cool. And I'm pretty high powered. Let's see if I just make a whole bunch of these jumpy ones and see what happens. It's not slowing down. So you can play this on this device, on this build, with these settings at 30 frames. Not really worth pushing it, and I didn't mention this before because I wasn't really sure if it's worth mentioning. If you go to system, go to limit speed, if you crank that up to 500 or whatever, you can get this game to play at 60 frames. It's just that this device is not going to achieve it. I meant to show that with Signalis as well. In Signalis, you can up the limit, put it all the way up, and Signalis will play at 60 frames. But I was worried about stability, so like I didn't know if that would be the reason it would cause further crashes, so I did not do that. I'm going to get a bird. I'm going to grab the bird, and I'm going to fly. This was a cool game. Again, I don't want to show... Oh, yeah, I forgot the bird doesn't last very long. Oh, I'm still alive, though. This was a cool game. Cool that you could play as Zelda. Cool that you could summon whatever. I liked to travel on the tiles a lot. I thought that was fun. Oh, a cutscene. I do think, personally, I think with this game, I think they could have made it girlier, you know? I think being Zelda, I think there could have been like more interactions with like female characters and talk about girly things. I don't know. I think if I was like a father, I think that would be cool for a daughter to experience a Zelda with like more girly aspects about it, because the adventure vibe with like Link is quite boyish. And I'm not saying that only boys can do that, but I think I do think a lot of parts in this game, besides this mechanic, which is, you know, because Link has a sword and items and stuff, sometimes I was just forgetting I was playing a Zelda. I don't know if anybody else felt that way. Let's see if I can go to this dojo guy and do a challenge of sorts. Because there's usually a lot going on in these challenges, so this will be a decent test. Yeah, I'm ready. Oh, that's a boss battle. The boss battles, see, the boss battles on the actual Nintendo Switch, god damn it, slowed down. The performance on the original hardware of the Nintendo Switch was very inconsistent with this game, and that frustrated a lot of people. I do think that's another, like, the thing that annoys me about Nintendo is that we're getting up to like 8 years of the Nintendo Switch. Next year, next March, it'll be 8 years the Nintendo Switch has been out, and nothing has changed except for an OLED model, and that frustrates me because the market we're in, the technology we have is accelerating, sorry, at a rate. Ooh, look at those glitches. So let's just. And I fully appreciate the fact that the Nintendo Switch is on market and it's been doing so great for them and they're making money and all that stuff. But it's also just completely unfair as well that they make a game like this and it doesn't have like consistent frame rates, which makes for a less enjoyable experience. Even on this device, playing like this seems to be running 30 frames smooth. Let's just call this. Oh, it crashed. That was perfect, actually. All right, but you know, look, I'm kind of glad it crashed because you know I do recommend that. It's a good Zelda game. You should go get it if you want something like that. And like I said, this is Android 10. We're testing things. A lot of these games here are really cool and playable, especially the pixely kind of games stretched to 4:3. They still look really good. And with the OLED screen as well, cool experiences. 3D games that worked really well. Crow Country, Dark Souls, surprisingly. Metroid Dread, not full 60, but running fairly smooth. Signalis is 3D, and that was running stable 30 until it like crashed. It seemed to be just like a loading a particular area, something to do with that. So very cool game. Not sure I could quite recommend it for this device. Zelda was running smooth until that thing happened with the boss. I mean, I wouldn't risk it. I wouldn't risk playing this game with this device. You don't want to like do a dungeon, get to a boss, crash, and you don't know how many times it's going to crash. The performance for Echoes of Wisdom between different devices, different emulators has been really weird, but I found... So what I did, I played it on the Geek One S with Ryujinx using lossless scaling to maintain a stable 60 FPS the entire time. That was super cool. Really enjoyed that. But Nintendo has grabbed and crushed both emulators, Ryujinx and Yuzu. But, I mean, look, I really want them to make the Switch 2. I mean, they are, but I want them to reveal it. I want to know what the Switch 2 is. Is it going to be great? There's a lot of potential for the Switch 2, so I'm really looking forward to see what they're going to do with that. Anyway, we're coming up to an hour now, and as much as I love to talk more about the Retroid Pocket Mini and look at other things, we should call it here. So that's been my Nintendo Switch video on the Retroid Pocket Mini. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon if you want to see more videos. Retroid Pocket 5 review, hopefully within a few weeks' time, let's say. You know what's funny? I did a video talking about the new Odin 2 Portal, and I talked about how the Aya Neo Pocket Evo is coming, and people in the comments are saying, oh, Aya always delays products. And yeah, guess what? They delayed the Pocket Evo to the end of November and offered everybody a $20 gift voucher for their store, which I don't really want. But you were right. Yeah, they like to delay things. Anyway, thank you very much. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.